than a talk. It's more than a talk I would like to have prepared for you, but also an experience. Also an experience that we will be having today. So close to somewhere between 15 and 20 minutes worth of videos, not all at once, but they each give a little bit of experience of the numinous experience of being a modern mystic. And the experiences we will see are historic. They're both biblically based. They're based on other world scripture, and also even more recent. Good example of modern day mystics. So we are going to see what the numinous experience is like today. Now, yesterday, I will share with you all that I was one of the thousands in Kansas City with my cousin and my husband chanting, basically chanting for a better world, chanting for a better world. I stayed away from the personal attack chanting that people got into at times, but it was a peaceful demonstration. We did have a couple of hecklers. People were driving by. We were in a park on the plaza in Kansas City, and people were driving by, most of them thumbs up, yeah, shouting, some of them holding signs out there in support out their doors. There was one car that kept driving around and around, waving a Canadian flag, and yay. So I want you to know that in our hearts, we are still connected with Canada here in the United States. We are all one continent, one North American continent, and we are connected with you in so many ways that I can't even count. So it's good to be connected with you here this morning. Now that outer demonstration actually came from inner guidance of something to step up and have our voices heard. And that's what we're looking at. The modern mystic in the numinous experience will have that encounter and then speak to it, and then set forth and speak to it. Like the prophets of the Hebrew scriptures, what qualified the prophets of the Hebrew scriptures was the awakening of the Spirit of God. The Spirit of God came upon them. They went into a form of ecstasy, and then they were able to say, "Thus saith the Lord." Same thing in the New Testament with the disciples when they became apostles, teaching the truth. They had that moment that we call Pentecost in traditional Christianity, when they awakened to the Holy Spirit. So we're going to look at some examples of that today and contemplate what they mean for us. So let me call up it's under share. Okay, let me get the share thing up. Yes, I want to share my screen, and I want to share. First I want to share the sound and optimize the video, and then I want to share the PowerPoint. Okay, can everybody see that? Give me an audible yes, because sometimes when it comes on, I don't know what the difference is, or I'd make a difference with it. Sometimes when it comes on, I cannot see you. So
yes, we see it.
Great.
Not yet.
So terrific. So we will not do this by raising hands, because I cannot see your raised hands. If you have something to share, about midpoint, we'll be having a little bit of a share. If you have something to share, just speak up. Just speak up. Okay, and thank you all for being in here today. This is the day of the divine encounter. Next week, we are going to look at mysticism itself, as in feeling complete unity, as in letting go of selfness, and feeling complete unity with all things. And we'll tie that in with the Easter story because next week is both Palm Sunday and Passover. And then the following week on Easter, we're going to look at paranormal experiences because those visions of the risen Christ, we start with that and then expand it into other arenas, but those visions of the risen Christ were definitely paranormal experiences. So we're looking at three main types of being a modern day mystic. And I have to say, and I'm going to hold this up to my camera. I don't know if you can see it, but because of the slides, but I'm drawing forth from a very scientific and philosophical approach to mysticism called The Varieties of Spiritual Experience, 21st Century Research and Perspectives by David Yaden and Andrew Newberg, both of whom are neuroscientists as well as philosophers and theologians. So anyway, we are in our divine encounter mode today. And we are going to begin with 3 samples of divine encounter from our spiritual and religious history. And our first sample is Arjuna's encounter with the cosmic form of Krishna. So Arjuna was a warrior, a Kaurava warrior, in the Indian world, a religion that developed into Hinduism, particularly after the epic of the Mahabharata, which means great battle. The Mahabharata was written, and the particular chapter, there's one particular chapter in which Arjuna encounters the cosmic form of Krishna. Krishna is his charioteer, and he's standing in his chariot having a conversation. So this is what the Bhagavad Gita is. It's called the Song of the Lord. And at one point he questions Krishna enough, and Krishna shows him his cosmic form. Now, in the 700s, a mystic philosopher of India wrote a commentary on the Bhagavad Gita, and his name was Nyaneshwar. And I myself have had such an experience when I was in an intensive at an ashram once. And I could audibly hear a voice in my ear say, Yaneshwar, Yaneshwar, read Yaneshwar. So I read Yaneshwar's commentary on the Bhagavad Gita, and it was amazing. And here is a verse that most impressed me as speaking to our divine nature coming forth from God. The wind blows, a wave forms on the ocean. The wind ceases, the wave merges back into the ocean. So tell me, what is it that has died? So we are the wave on the ocean. I think I've said this, I've quoted this before in interacting with you all. We are the wave on the ocean. We have everything that the ocean has. By perception, we are individual, but in truth, we are one with the divine. And because our perception is one of being individual, we will often encounter the divine as something distinct from us. But the divine is not distinct from us. The divine is our own higher nature. Deepak Chopra said, we fill the universe. We don't stop at our skin. We actually fill the universe. And sometimes the divine will show up in a way that will speak to us of our highest nature. And that's what we are looking at. So starting with the cosmic form of Krishna, who showed up for Arjuna on the battlefield. And then we're going to look at Saint Teresa of Avila and the cosmic form of Krishna. I forgot to remove that from the next slide. But Saint Teresa of Avila, who had an experience as I think she was about 15 years old when she had an experience of an angel appearing, also a paranormal experience as well as a divine encounter. And she knew it was the voice of God speaking to her. And this angel pierced her heart with an arrow of divine love, and she went into a pure, ecstatic state. Following that experience, she seemed to know things that only the greatest theologians of the time knew. And she would start teaching them. And she brought the order of the Carmelite nuns back to its core of living only for God, and set up several centers for them to do so, and also would write. She would write poetry, she would write theology, and she was the first woman in the Catholic Church to be granted the status of doctor of theology or of understanding, doctor of the church. In those days, that's what it was called, a doctor of the church. And when she died, her body did not deteriorate. And people who prayed around her body experienced healing miracles. Not only did it not deteriorate, it did not stink. It had a sweet scent to it. So hence she had enough miracles going on that the church made her a saint. These are two of the things she wrote. Let nothing disturb you. Let nothing frighten you. All things are passing. God alone never changes. Patience gains all things. If you have God, you will want for nothing. So if we just focused on that teaching alone, it would transform our lives and our world. And speaking of transforming our world, she calls us to be who we are as divine human beings by saying Christ has no body now but yours. And this all comes from the divine encounter, the numinous experience. And now we're going to look at a Hollywood version of a biblical numinous experience. And you will probably recognize it if you've lived for any length of time. But just embrace it. And I want to invite you to listen to what Hollywood actually added to the dialogue between Moses and Joshua in this clip, in this brief clip. All right. And I am looking for my arrow. Oh, my arrow has disappeared on my mouse. My mouse has been going a little funky on me lately. I see, well, let me see if I can get it with my, sorry. Shoot, there, and, well, my arrow's not showing up to click play. Hold on, let me do something here. I want to play this, but I can't. There we go. There we go. All right. That's it. And relax and
I am here.
Put off thy shoes from off thy feet, for the place whereon thou standest is holy ground. I am the God of thy father, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob.
Lord, why do you not hear the cries of their children in the bondage of Egypt?
I have surely seen the affliction of my people which are in Egypt, and I have heard their cry by reason of their taskmasters, for I know their sorrows. Therefore I will send thee, Moses, unto Pharaoh, that thou mayest bring my people out of Egypt.
Who am I, Lord, that you should send me? How can I lead this people out of bondage? What words can I speak that they will heed?
I will teach thee what thou wilt say. When thou hast brought forth the people, they shall serve me upon this mountain. I will put my laws into their hearts, and in their minds will I write them. Now therefore go, and I will be with thee.
But if I say to your children that the God of their fathers has sent me, they will ask, what is his name? And how shall I answer them?
I am that I am. Thou shalt say, I am hath sent me unto you.
Is the holy mountain forbidden to men?
Yes, and I am afraid for him.
Then he is more than man. For look. Look at his face.
He has seen God. Moses, your hair, your sandals.
I stood upon holy ground.
Can you tell us, Moses?
My eyes could not look upon him.
Did he speak?
He revealed his word to my mind. And the word was God.
Did he speak as a man?
He is not flesh, but spirit, the light of eternal mind. And I know that his light is in every man.
Did he ask something of you?
That I go to Egypt.
Reverend Laura, are
You
you
are
able to
God's
skip a
messenger.
part or
He has set the day of
do
deliverance.
something that
I will get
almost
water and
walk
bread
you,
that we may leave at once.
somewhere?
But Egypt
It's
means death
it's
for you.
almost over.
If it be his will.
This is
Where he sends
Okay,
you,
sorry, I
shall
thought that
go.
it wasn't letting you
Your
advance.
God is my God.
I will lead men against the armory at Migdol and get swords for the people.
It is not by the sword that he will deliver his people, but by the staff of a shepherd.
all right. So that's why I said we have almost 20 minutes of videos today. So we can actually embrace the experience of what we are hearing. And each video does have an end. It will conclude. But This is probably one of the most well-known numinous divinity experiences, of course, done in the patriarchal language. There's something I want to say about the patriarchal language in the Bible because it came from a patriarchal society. When the language says mankind, it refers to all of humankind, men and women. When it says God is a he, it's not really saying God is masculine, even though God often in the Bible has masculine qualities. It's saying God is personal, father, he, and in the language, that is how it was put. Even in the early Unity books, the Fillmores write about, well, he will do this or he will, but they're referring to people in general. So this is just the thing of language that we deal with when we're looking at something that came out of the patriarchal period. But here, with Moses encountering God in the burning bush, God said to Moses, I am who I am. Thus you shall say to the Israelites, I am has sent me to you. And this is a very famous numinous experience. It is the feeling of being in touch with divinity or God, and it may constitute the prototypical religious or spiritual experience. So really, more than any other reported spiritual experience from modern day mystics, at least to the scientific and philosophical world, this is the primary experience, an encounter with divinity. It doesn't have to be called God. It doesn't have to be a he. It is just an encounter with a universal something or presence greater than we know ourselves to be. And it's not greater than we are. It's greater than we know ourselves to be, because the intellect cannot totally wrap around it, around such an experience. So people in the past have called it, oh, I've encountered God. You know, I've encountered something divine. And only because the intellect can't figure out exactly what it is that had happened. And yet, such an encounter makes the intellect and the mind and the heart very clear, very clear. So I'm going to look a little bit more at what such an encounter can be. I'm not going to the slideshow in case you see the slides on the side right now, and I'm staying there just in case my mouse breaks down again. I need to do something manually. Okay, items that measure the divinity experience. An experience in which one or more of the following is present. And I give quotes that give examples of that. William James, by the way, in the quotes, was a 19th century philosopher. He wrote the first book that the varieties of spiritual experience is based upon, and he called it The Varieties of Religious Experience. But now, acknowledging the distinction between religion and spirituality, it has been rewritten as The Varieties of Spiritual Experience. I felt God's presence. God surrounds me like the physical atmosphere. And we see that in the works of James Dillett Freeman when he says, the light of God surrounds me. I felt that I encountered God, and I use Myrtle Fillmore for this one, because Myrtle Fillmore would go off by herself or meditate by herself quite often and would encounter the divine in those meditations. And she wrote a poem that opens with, the hours I spend with thee, dear Lord, are pearls of priceless worth to me. And I felt that I communed with God. God is closer to me than my own breath, said William James. Which means what? Today we would say, I am one with God. So that brings us to the questions. Did you see any of these items in the story of Jesus? And I'll do them again. Feeling God's presence, feeling an encounter with God, feeling a communion with God, or the divine, or whatever it is, universal presence, whatever it is, the eternal, the infinite, whatever you want to call it. Did you see any of these items in the story of the burning bush? And you can just speak up to that. I'm going to try putting it on the actual video from current slide. There we go. My mouse started working much better. Maybe I should have done that. So did you see any of these items in the story of Moses and the burning bush? Have you ever had one or more of these experiences? And I would ask you to raise your hands, but you're going to have to speak up verbally. You can say yes, or maybe which item you saw, or what experience you've had as feeling God's presence, knowing you're encountering God, and feeling at one with God. Anybody ever have such experiences? You can go ahead and speak up if you want to. Or do you have any questions at this point? Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Anna said yes, she has had this experience.
Okay. Is she on mute? Because I couldn't
Yeah.
hear that. Okay. Okay. Yeah.
She said in meditation. I was
Yes.
wondering if about seeing God, about feeling God. I mean, the significance of the burning bush is so powerful in my own journey, the burning bush, the burning bush. Can you say a word or two why it was a burning bush for Moses?
Moses was a man of nature at the time. He
Okay.
was a shepherd. He was in the field with the shepherd, or with the flock so much, and dwelt among those mountains at the foothills of them. And so it would be a thing of nature that would capture his attention most. And the fact that it had a light, you heard the Hollywood version of his dialogue with Joshua. He said, it is the light of the mind, the light of the mind. And that light is in all men, as indicated by the statement, I am that I am. My dad used to say, the I am is the divine, and what it is saying is, I am that I am, which is you. I am that I am. So the burning bush, metaphysically, as we interpret metaphysically in unity, the burning bush represents your own intuitive voice of God that is within. It represents God speaking to you directly from within your own being. That's what it represents. But of course, it would be burning because it would have an undying light, or an eternal light to quality to it. So what is meant by the light of eternal mind in every man and woman? What is meant by the light of eternal mind is that undying light. And my first alternative ministry, now the alternative ministry is called Unity of the Heart Mind, but the original name was Light of the Mind. Light of the Mind.
Well, I was wondering if also every one of us, we've been in our meditation time talking about the lens through which we meditate and see and perceive, and to keep the lens free, through forgiveness, through working on letting go. But I was wondering if that is also so with what would be the image that we like to give to God.
Yes.
It's very individual. It's through the lens that
Yes.
is my own individual lens that I have developed in a lifetime. And then that is probably, as you said, with Moses, he was a shepherd. He was out in the in nature. So he saw it as a burning bush.
Yes.
But for some of us, it might be a completely different image of God.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. Yes. It's like I said in the description of my talk. You don't have to have a burning bush experience
Right.
to encounter God. Yes. So, and why Moses addressed it in his Hollywood script anyway, because it is the light of eternal mind that is in everyone, everyone. And indeed, in science, there is a thing called the theory of mind. The theory of mind. In other words, it's beyond the physicality of the brain and the synapses of the brain. It's called the theory of mind, and it's our ability to perceive, to see into people and things and know the essence or the core of what is being thought and understand the sense of a being or a person or a divine being, including a divine being, know what they're thinking and know how they're speaking to us, just as Moses said, he spoke to my mind. This is called the theory of mind in science. One of our current conceptualizations of how consciousness comes into being involves the mind arising as an emergent property from a sufficiently complex set of neurobiological processes. So it ties the mind in with the physical brain. It arises when our neurobiology starts shooting off, like crazy. And this another image, it's distinct from the one I showed in January, but it's basically the same thing. And this is an image that Andrew Newberg took or mapped of Buddhist monks when they were focused on the Buddha nature. And I'll say what that arrow is pointing to in a minute, but you see how much the blood is flowing around the cortexes, the frontal cortex and the parietal cortex of the brain. And the frontal cortex is responsible for intellectual and emotional processing. And if you saw this compared to those who weren't in meditation, there would be a disconnect between the right and left brain there. But when you're meditating on God, those two sides of your brain connect. And also, what you see in the lower parietal lobe on the right there is a decrease in blood flow. That lower parietal lobe is in charge of your interacting in outward ways. When you're thinking outwardly, when you're doing things outwardly, when you're defending yourself, when you have to feel like, you have to have so much. And so anyway, all this interaction with your world in outward ways is in that lower right parietal. And you see it closes down when you are meditating on God. So it's just kind of an interesting literal light of the mind done through MRI imaging. Now, it says, now my thing is in the way here. There, could in a similar way as how mind arises from the brain, an ultimate kind of mind emerge from the complex physical system that is the universe. Okay, so there's universal mind. This is a map of the universe as we know it today, as we are able to perceive it. And we are able to perceive literally billions of years into the past and into our universal system. So this is a composite map put together of the universe. And you see it is like an active mind. It's like an active mind, and the synapses of the map is all the connections of galaxies and stars and solar systems. at work. So we are a smaller version of that greater universal mind. God mind embraces all knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. And I'm reading so we can move through. I'd ask you all to read, but I'm reading so we can move through the slides more quickly. God mind embraces all knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, and is the source of every manifestation of true knowledge and intelligence. And from Newman and Yaden, God is commonly understood as a mind, albeit an ultimate kind of mind. Therefore, when people are having numinous experiences, they are perceiving a vast and special kind of mind, but a mind nonetheless. So our metaphysical language is a language of mind. And what I wanted to point out in our metaphysical language is that metaphysical spirituality, the essence of metaphysical spirituality with mind as a small m, refers to the totality of individual consciousness. That's thoughts, feelings, experiences, memories, responses, everything. And mind with a capital M refers to the totality of the universe or God. Oh, somebody did I turn that on? I might have turned on our drawing aspect there for a second. Okay, referring to the totality of the universe or God. So we are the microcosm of the great macrocosm that is God mind. And scientists have been discovering this, especially since about the 1990s and into the 21st century. The numinous divinity experience. For who has known the mind of the Lord so as to instruct him? But we have the mind of Christ, said Paul in one of his more mystical moments. So, are people raising their hand or something? Because I saw Wilma flash up and I saw another name. Do you want to say something? If you do, that's fine. Okay. How does the modern mystic attain and maintain the link with God mind? The modern mystic sees with the eyes of God. The modern mystic listens with the heart. And the modern mystic takes time to be still. There you are, Wilma. Wilma, are you trying to speak? Okay. I wish I could see you. I really wish I could see you. All right. All right. Whoop, kind of scratched up. This is a video from the House of David. And I'm looking at our time. The House of David is a current series that I would say resembles Lord of the Rings. It's closer to Lord of the Rings than to the biblical account of David's life who was the king of Israel. But this is the moment Samuel sees God in David. I'm not going to play it, looking at what our time is right now, because I want to move on. But this is actually seeing, the modern mystic sees with the eyes of God. And one of the things Samuel says in this clip, Wilma, can you shut down whatever function is creating the marks on the, is that you, Wilma, trying to speak?
No.
Okay. Okay. All right. The modern mystic sees with the eyes of God. Sees with the eyes of God. Now, this is what it means to see with the eyes of God, is to see beyond appearances. To look beyond appearances to the essence of a person. To look beyond appearances to the essence of a condition or circumstance or situation, and to contemplate What is the message here? What is it revealing to me? We do this with scripture. We do this with everything in life. So even the current things that are happening in our world today, we can take that deeper look as modern mystics at what is really happening in the unfolding consciousness of myself and of humanity as a whole. Okay, I'm not going to play it. I'm trying to get past it, but again, my mouse stopped working. Okay, I'm going to click on, there we go, to our next modern mystic, who is Jim Freeman. The modern mystic listens from the heart. And this refers to when Jim received the poem, I Am There, which was a divine encounter for him. His wife had just been diagnosed with terminal cancer, and he was distraught and went into the chapel in the hospital to pray. And he heard this voice. He literally, audibly heard this voice. He thought someone was in there with him, in fact. But it actually shared this poem with him. And he immediately wrote down what he heard, and then he shared it with his wife. And he said it helped see them through the next few months of her life before she passed. And it helped give him the strength to know that no matter what you lose in life, you actually gain everything. All right. So we are going to use Jim Freeman's experience of the divine, listening from the heart, as our meditation. And then we're going to go into the third aspect of the modern day mystic. Remember, it is seeing with the eyes of God, seeing beyond appearances into the spiritual truth. It is listening from the heart to the spirit within and to others. And it is spending time in the silence. So we're going to listen to Jim's poem and then spend a moment or two in the silence. And then we'll close.
Do you need me? I am there. You cannot see me, yet I am the light you see by. You cannot hear me, yet I speak through your voice. You cannot feel me, yet I am the power at work in your hands. I am at work, though you do not understand my ways. I am at work, though you do not recognize my works. I am not strange visions, I am not mysteries. Only in absolute stillness, beyond self, can you know me as I am, and then but as a feeling and a faith. Yet I am there, yet I hear, yet I answer. When you need me, I am there. Even if you deny me, I am there. Even when you feel most alone, I am there. Even in your fears, I am there. Even in your pain, I am there. I am there when you pray and when you do not pray. I am in you, and you are in me. Only in your mind can you feel separate from me, for only in your mind are the mists of yours and mine. Yet only with your mind can you know me and experience me. Empty your heart of empty fears. When you get yourself out of the way, I am there. You can of yourself do nothing, but I can do all, and I am in all. Though you may not see the good, good is there, for I am there. I am there because I have to be, because I am. Only in me does the world have meaning. Only out of me does the world take form. Only because of me does the world go forward. I am the law on which the movement of the stars and the growth of living cells are founded. I am the love that is the law's fulfilling. I am assurance. I am peace. I am oneness. I am the law that you can live by. I am the love that you can cling to. I am your assurance. I am your peace. I am one with you. I am. Though you fail to find me, I do not fail you. Though your faith in me is unsure, my faith in you never wavers. Because I know you, because I love you, beloved, I am there.
And just take that in and be with this divine encounter. And so it is. And open your eyes and come into this moment. I had to mute myself for a minute because I was coughing. And we often find our voice or our song. Speaking of finding our voice, my voice is renewing itself after all the chanting yesterday. We often find our voice or our song after these kind of moments, these kind of encounters. So one of the Psalms that's attributed to David says, "How long, O Lord, will you forget me forever? How long will you hide your face from me?" So if something's been going on in our lives or in our world and we're wondering, how long is this going to take, for it to unfold in the way that I perceive it needs to unfold. And then what happens is an inspiration comes in and the full presence of God is felt, and the psalm concludes, "But I trusted in your steadfast love. My heart shall rejoice in your salvation. I will sing to the Lord a new song because he has dealt bountifully with me." And I can close it here or I can play a song, but I know we're out of our time. So, can we go just a couple more minutes for this song? Would that work, Maya?
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. So this is about singing your song. Oh, and you'll see clips from the current TV show that's on Amazon Prime right now on the House of David.
I waited patiently for the Lord. He inclined and heard my cry. He lifted me up out of the pit, out of the miry clay. I will sing a new song. I will sing a new song. Upon a rock, you make my footsteps firm. Many will say, yes, yeah. I will sing a new song. I will sing a new song. And I will sing a new song. I will sing a new song, and I'll keep on singing. Yeah, I'll keep on singing. And I will sing. And I will sing. Yes, I will sing. Yeah, keep on singing. How long to sing this song? 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 Sing this song. To sing this song. How long to sing this song? And how long to sing this song? And how long to sing this song? How long to sing this song? And 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 how long to sing this song? To sing this song.
Okay, and I'm going to stop the share. And there we are.